In today's episode, we explore the unsettling series of events that resulted in the tragic deaths of Michael Ostito, Isaac Erevin, and Melissa Brown. Set against the backdrop of the scenic city of Asheville, North Carolina, this case uncovers the complexities of unconventional relationships
Michael Ostito,
and the devastating
was a
outcomes that
software engineer
ensued.
living in Asheville,
Michael
North Carolina,
Ostito,
with
38,
his wife,
was a
Vivian,
software
and daughter,
engineer
Braille.
residing in
Known for
Asheville,
his
North
quiet
Carolina,
demeanor, Michael
with his
was a
wife
tech
Vivian
enthusiast who
and their
loved
daughter
to hike
Braille.
and play chess.
A reserved
He
individual,
graduated from the
Michael
University
had a
of
passion
North
for
Carolina
technology,
with a degree
enjoyed
in computer
hiking,
science.
and was an
Michael worked
avid
for a
chess
local
player.
tech company,
He
where his
earned his
colleagues
computer
admired his
science degree from
problem-solving
the
skills
University
and
of North
dedication.
Carolina.
He dreamed of starting
Michael
his own
worked
tech
at a
company
local
and
tech
was
company
particularly
where his
excited
colleagues
about a new app
respected his
idea
strong
he was
problem-solving
developing. Isaac
abilities
Erevin,
and commitment.
41, was a
He had
financial analyst who
aspirations
lived
of
in
launching
Asheville
his
as
own
well.
tech
He
business
was known
and was
for his
particularly
intelligence and calm
enthusiastic
demeanor.
about a new
Isaac
app he
graduated
was
from
working
Duke
on.
University with a
Isaac
degree in
Erevin,
economics
41,
and worked for a
was a
prominent
financial
firm in the
analyst
city.
who
He and
also
Michael were
lived in
close
Asheville.
friends, often
Isaac was
discussing
known for his sharp
philosophy and
intellect and
technology.
composed
Isaac was
nature.
single,
He
valuing his
graduated from
friendships
Duke
deeply
University
and
with a
considering
degree in
them his chosen
economics
family.
and worked at
He
a
was
well-known
respected at work
financial
for his
firm in
thoughtful
Asheville.
insights and steady
Isaac
presence.
and Michael shared a
Melissa
close
Moonbeam
friendship,
Brown,
frequently
29,
engaging in
was a
deep
yoga
discussions
instructor
about
and spiritual
philosophy
guide.
and technology.
She lived a vibrant and
Isaac was
unconventional
single
lifestyle,
and placed
deeply
great
committed to
value on
exploring
his friendships,
alternative
viewing
relationships
them
and
as his
spiritual
chosen
practices.
family.
Melissa was
He was
known for
highly
her
regarded
radiant
at work
energy
for his
and
thoughtful
fascination with
perspectives
love
and calm
connection.
demeanor.
She dreamed
Melissa
of opening a holistic
Moonbeam
wellness
Brown,
center in Asheville.
29,
Her
was a
interest
yoga
in
instructor
unconventional
and
sexual
spiritual
dynamics
guide.
led her to form
Melissa
a
led a
polyamorous
vibrant,
relationship or
unconventional
throuple with
life,
Michael and Isaac,
passionately
something that Michael's
exploring
wife,
alternative
Vivian,
relationships
tepidly
and
agreed
spiritual
to. On March
practices.
17, 2012,
She was
the day
recognized for
before
her
their
glowing
deaths,
energy
Michael shared
and
an
her
article
deep
on
interest
Facebook
in
about a
love and
financial
human
seminar
connection.
at the local community center.
Melissa had
Melissa
dreams of
posted on
opening a
Instagram,
holistic
sharing her
wellness center in
excitement about an
Asheville.
upcoming retreat
Melissa's
she was planning on Go
exploration of
Yoga.
unconventional
The three of them
sexual
checked into a
dynamics
daze and
led
off
her
the
to enter a
interstate,
polyamorous
looking forward to a night
relationship
of
or
sexual
throuple
escapades.
with Michael
Melissa
and
was
Isaac,
preparing
an
spiritual
arrangement that
activities,
Michael's wife,
including
Vivian,
yoga sessions and
reluctantly
tantric
accepted.
meditations, to
On
strengthen their
March
bonds
17,
and enhance their sexual
2012,
creativity.
just a day before
However,
their deaths,
their plans were
Michael
tragically
shared
cut
an
short.
article on
Their
Facebook
lives
about
were
a financial
brutally ended in an
seminar at the local
unexpected and
community
violent
center.
manner, leaving the community in shock.
Meanwhile,
On the
Melissa
morning of
posted
March
on
18,
Instagram
2012,
expressing her
at
excitement
around
for an
10 a.m.,
upcoming retreat
the
she
weather
was
was
organizing,
overcast and cool
which
in
featured
Asheville,
goat
North
yoga.
Carolina. Diana
The
Lopez,
three of them checked
a
into a
housekeeper at the
secluded
local
spot
Days
off the
Inn,
interstate,
was going about her
eager for a
usual
night of
routine.
intimacy
As she
and
approached room
exploration.
214, she
Melissa
knocked and
had
called out,
prepared
but there was no
spiritual
response.
activities,
Assuming the
including
guest
yoga
had checked out
sessions
early,
and tantric
Diana used her
meditations
master
to
key to
deepen
enter
their
the room.
connection and
The scene that
inspire
greeted
their
her was
sexual
beyond
creativity.
anything she had ever
Unfortunately,
experienced.
their
The
plans
bloodied
were
corpses of
tragically
Michael Ostito,
interrupted.
Isaac
Their
Erevin,
lives would
and
tragically
Melissa
and violently
Moonbeam
cut short,
Brown were
leaving
lying
the
naked in the
community
bed,
in shock.
their faces
On
disfigured
the morning
and
of March
unrecognizable.
18,
In the
2012,
bathroom,
around
their
10
limbs had
a.m.,
been
the
severed
weather
and
in
stuffed
Asheville,
into the
North
toilet,
Carolina was
creating an
overcast and
unbelievably
cool.
horrific sight.
Diana
Diana
Lopez,
was
a
initially frozen
housekeeper
in
at the
shock,
local Days
unable
Inn,
to
was
comprehend
going
the
about her
brutality of the
regular
scene
duties.
before her.
As Diana
quickly
approached room
regained her composure
214,
and rushed out of the
she
room to
knocked
call
and called
911.
out, but
Her voice
received no
trembled as she
response.
reported the gruesome
Believing the
discovery,
guests had
and
checked
she
out
struggled
early,
to
she
describe the
used
scene
her
to the
master key
dispatcher.
to open the door.
Within minutes,
What she
police and
encountered
emergency
inside was
responders
beyond
were on their way to
anything
the
she
Days
could have
Inn.
imagined.
News of the gruesome
Diana
discovery
quickly gathered her
spread through
composure
Asheville.
and rushed out of the
Local
room
media,
to call 911.
including the Asheville
Her
Citizen
voice
Times,
shook as she
reported on the
reported the
triple
grisly
homicide,
discovery,
and the Days Inn
struggling
became
to
a focal
convey the
point for both
details of the
reporters
scene
and
to the
curious
dispatcher.
onlookers. The community,
Within
known for its
moments,
peaceful
police and
and
emergency
artistic atmosphere,
responders were on
was
their way
stunned
to
by
the
the
Days
brutality
Inn.
of the
News of the
murders.
gruesome
The
discovery
police
spread
presence at the
rapidly
Days Inn
throughout
remained
Asheville.
heavy throughout
Local
the
media
day as
outlets,
detectives
including
and
the
forensic
Asheville
teams
Citizen Times,
worked
covered the triple
tirelessly to gather
homicide at the
evidence
Days
and
Inn,
piece together
drawing
what
the
had happened.
attention of
The
reporters
shocking
and
nature of the
curious
crime left a
onlookers.
deep
The
impact
community,
on everyone involved,
typically known for
from
its
the
peaceful
officers
and
and
artistic
detectives to
vibe,
the
was
residents of
left in
Asheville.
shock by the
The
sheer
Asheville police
brutality of the
arrived
murders.
swiftly at the Days
The
Inn on
police
the morning of
maintained a
March
strong
18,
presence at the
2012.
Days Inn throughout the
Detectives
day as
Jason
detectives
Milkmaid
and forensic
Mullen and
teams
Lisa
worked
Ramirez,
diligently
known for their
to
thorough
collect evidence
and
and
insightful
understand
investigative
what
skills,
had
were
occurred.
called in to lead the
The
case.
brutal nature
Detective
of
Mullen,
the crime
a
affected
meticulous
everyone
and detail-oriented
involved,
investigator,
from the
had
officers
worked
and
on several
detectives to
high-profile
the residents
cases in
of
Asheville.
Asheville.
Detective
The
Ramirez,
Asheville police
known for her
responded
sharp
quickly to the
instincts
scene
and
on the
ability to read
morning of
people,
March 18,
complimented Mullen's methodical
2012.
approach.
Detectives
As they entered
Jason
room
Milkmaid Mullen
214,
and Lisa
they were
Ramirez,
struck by the brutality
recognized
of
for
the
their
scene.
keen investigative
Blood splatters
skills,
covered the
were
walls
assigned
and
to lead
furniture,
the case.
and the bed was
Detective
soaked in
Mullen,
blood.
known
The
for his
bodies of
attention to
Michael
detail
Ostito,
and
Isaac
thoroughness,
Arevin,
had
and
handled
Melissa
several
Moonbeam
high-profile
Brown
cases
lay
in
in the bed.
Asheville.
Their faces
Detective Ramirez,
unrecognizable and their
with her
limbs
sharp
severed
instincts and
stuffed into
ability
the
to
toilet.
understand
The
people,
detectives quickly
worked well
identified a
alongside
katana,
Mullen's
her
methodical
Japanese
style.
sword, as the
The
murder
detectives
weapon.
quickly
The presence of
identified
such
a
an
katana,
unusual weapon
a traditional
added a layer
Japanese
of
sword,
complexity to
as
the
the
case.
weapon used
The
in the
detectives
murder.
began their
The use of
investigation
such
by
an
thoroughly
unusual
documenting
weapon
the crime
made
scene.
the case
They took
more
numerous
complex.
photographs and
They
collected
began
samples
their
for DNA
investigation
analysis.
by carefully
Luminol was used to
documenting
detect
every
blood
detail of the
traces that were
crime
not
scene.
immediately visible.
They took
The
several
forensic team
photographs and
carefully
collected
gathered
samples
fibers,
for
hair
DNA
samples,
testing.
and any other
Luminol
potential
was
evidence
used
that
to
might
reveal
provide
any
clues
hidden
about the
blood
killer.
traces.
Detectives
The
Mullen and
forensic team
Ramirez also
meticulously
spoke with
gathered
Diana
fibers,
Lopez,
hair,
the
and
housekeeper
other
who had
possible
discovered the
evidence
bodies.
that could
Diana,
offer clues
still
about the
shaken,
identity of the
described
killer.
the horrifying scene she had
Detectives
encountered
Mullen
and her
and
immediate
Ramirez
reaction.
also
Her detailed
interviewed
account
Diana
helped the
Lopez,
detectives piece
the
together the
housekeeper who had
timeline of
found the
events
bodies.
leading up to the discovery.
Still visibly
Outside the
shaken,
motel room,
Diana
the parking
described the
lot was
shocking
cordoned off
scene
with
she had
yellow
come
police
across
tape,
and how she
officers began
reacted. Her
canvassing the
detailed
area,
account
speaking
provided
with
the
other
detectives
guests
with
and staff members
valuable
to gather any
information
additional
to help
information.
reconstruct the
They learned
events
that no
leading
one
up
had
to the
seen or
discovery.
heard anything
The parking
unusual
lot
that
outside
morning,
the motel
adding to
was
the
blocked
mystery
off
of
with
how the
yellow
murders
police
had
tape,
occurred without
while
attracting
officers
attention.
questioned
The
nearby
Asheville
guests and
Citizen
staff
Times
to
and
gather
local
more
TV
information.
stations quickly picked up the
However,
story,
no one
reporting
had
on the
noticed
shocking triple
anything
homicide.
unusual that
The
morning,
community,
which
known
deepened
for
the
its
mystery
peaceful,
of how the
artistic
murders had
vibe,
taken
was
place
shaken by the
without
brutal
drawing
crime.
attention.
Reporters and
The
onlookers
Asheville
gathered near
Citizen
the day's
Times and
end,
local
seeking
TV
any
stations
updates
swiftly
on the
covered the
investigation.
story,
As the day
reporting on the
progressed, the
shocking
detectives
triple
continued their
homicide.
meticulous
The community,
work, hoping to
known
find
for its
leads that would
peaceful
point
and
them to the killer.
artistic
The
atmosphere,
complexity
was
of the crime
deeply
scene and the
shaken by the
unusual
brutal
weapon used
crime.
indicated a deeply
Reporters
personal
and
and
curious
premeditated act of
onlookers
violence.
gathered near the
The
day's
investigation
end,
was
eager
only
for
beginning,
any
but
updates on
detectives
the
Mullen and
investigation.
Ramirez were
As the
determined
day
to
went
uncover
on,
the truth
the
behind the
detectives
horrific
remained
murders.
focused on
Vivian
their detailed
Ostito,
work, hoping
36,
to uncover
was the
leads
first
that would
suspect
lead
the
them to
police
the killer.
investigated.
The
Vivian
crime
was Michael
scene's
Ostito's
complexity
wife,
and the
known for her
unusual
outgoing
weapon
personality and
suggested the
creative
violence
spirit.
was both
She worked as an art
personal
teacher
and
at a local
carefully
elementary
planned.
school in Asheville and was often
While the
described as the
investigation
life
was
of
just
the party.
starting,
Despite her
Detectives Mullen
cheerful
and
demeanor,
Ramirez were
Vivian
committed to
harbored
uncovering
deep
the truth
insecurities about her
behind the
marriage,
brutal murders.
especially after Michael's involvement in
Vivian
a throuple with
Ostito,
Isaac Arevin
36,
and Melissa
became the
Moonbeam
first
Brown.
person of interest
Vivian
for the police.
initially agreed to the
Vivian
unconventional
was Michael
relationship to make
Ostito's
Michael
wife,
happy and to
known
keep
for
the
her
family
vibrant
whole for her daughter
personality and
Braille,
creative
but she
spirit.
soon found herself
She
overwhelmed by
worked as an
jealousy
art
and
teacher at a
resentment.
local
Her
elementary school
charisma
in
often
Asheville
masked these
and was
underlying
often
feelings,
described as
but
the
close
life of the
friends
party.
noticed changes in her behavior.
However,
A
beneath her
fact police
cheerful
found
exterior,
suspicious was that
Vivian
Vivian had a
struggled with
collection of
insecurities
Japanese
about
objects,
her marriage,
including a katana,
particularly after
inherited
learning
from her
about
aunt,
Michael's
a travel
involvement
agent who
in a
specialized
throuple
in
with
trips to
Isaac
Japan who
Arevin and
coincidentally was
Melissa
under
Moonbeam
investigation for
Brown.
sex trafficking older
Vivian
women
initially
to
went
Japan.
along with the
Detectives
unconventional
Mullen and
relationship
Ramirez
to
brought
please
Vivian in
Michael
for
and
questioning.
maintain
During the
stability for their daughter
interrogation,
Braille.
Vivian appeared calm
However,
and
she
cooperative,
soon found
but the
herself
detectives
consumed by
sensed an
jealousy
undercurrent
and
of tension.
resentment.
They asked her about
While
her
her
relationship
outgoing
with Michael
personality
and the
often hid
throuple
these
arrangement.
emotions,
Vivian
close
admitted she was
friends began to
struggling with the
notice subtle
situation,
changes
but
in
denied
her
any
behavior.
involvement in the murders.
One
She
detail that
explained that
raised
she and
suspicion
Braille
with the
spent the
police
weekend at a
was
friend's house,
Vivian's collection
trying to
of
distance
Japanese
herself from the
items,
complicated
including a
relationship
katana,
dynamics.
which
The
she had
detectives found
inherited from
Vivian's
her
alibi
aunt.
questionable
Her aunt,
and continued
a
to
travel
press her for
agent who
more
organized
details.
trips to Japan,
Vivian's calm
was also
demeanor
under
began to
investigation
crack,
for allegedly
revealing her
trafficking older
deep-seated
women to
anger
Japan.
and frustration. She
Detectives
spoke of
Mullen and
feeling
Ramirez
neglected and
brought
betrayed
Vivian
by
in for
Michael's
questioning.
increasing affection for
Throughout
Isaac
the
and
interview,
Melissa.
she seemed calm
Despite her
and willing to
emotional
cooperate,
outburst,
but the
Vivian
detectives could
maintained her
tell there was
innocence,
something off.
insisting she had
They
no
asked her
part in the
about her
brutal
connection to
killings.
Michael,
To gather
and
more
the unusual
evidence, the
relationship
police searched
arrangement they
Vivian's
had.
home. They found the
Vivian
collection of
admitted that
Japanese
she was
objects,
having a hard
including
time with the
katanas,
situation,
which appeared
but
to match the
denied
murder
having
weapon
anything
found
to
at the
do
crime
with the
scene.
murders.
Forensic
She said
analysis was
she and
conducted
Braille
to
had spent the
determine if this
weekend at a
katana
friend's
was
house
indeed the
trying
weapon
to get
used.
away from the
detectives
tension
also
of their
looked into Vivian's
complicated
phone records
relationship.
and emails,
However,
searching for
the
any
detectives were
incriminating
skeptical of her
communications.
alibi
Vivian's
and
friends
kept
and
pushing her
colleagues
for
were
more
interviewed as
information.
well. Many of
Vivian's
them described
calm
her as a
exterior
loving
started
wife
to
who was
break,
trying to
showing
support
her
her
anger
husband's
and frustration.
unconventional lifestyle,
She talked about
despite her
feeling
own
overlooked
discomfort.
and betrayed
However,
by Michael
a few
as he
noted
grew
that Vivian
closer
had
to
recently
Isaac and
become
Melissa.
more withdrawn
Even
and
with her
seemed
emotions
increasingly
running
troubled.
high,
The
Vivian
investigation
stuck to
into
her
Vivian
story,
Ostito's
claiming she
possible
had no
involvement
involvement in the
murders
brutal
continued
murders.
to reveal new
The
layers
police
of
searched
complexity.
Vivian's home
Her
in
deep
hopes of
feelings
finding
of
more
jealousy
evidence.
and betrayal
Among
provided
the
a potential
items they
motive,
discovered
but
was
the
a collection
detectives
of
needed
objects,
concrete
including
evidence to prove her
katanas,
guilt.
which looked
As they
similar
delved
to the
deeper into
weapon
her
found
life
at the
and
crime scene.
relationships, the case against
Forensic
Vivian grew
experts were
stronger,
brought in to
but they were
verify
not
if
yet
one of
ready
these
to make an
katanas
arrest.
was the actual
The
weapon
second
used
suspect
in the
the police
murders.
investigated
The
was Brian
detectives
Foster.
also
At 40
examined
years
Vivian's
old,
phone
Brian was a
records and
personal
emails,
trainer in Asheville,
looking for
known for
any
his charm and
suspicious
physical
messages.
fitness.
They
He
spoke
had a
with her
magnetic
friends and
personality that
coworkers too.
attracted many
Most
clients,
described her
both
as a
men and
caring
women.
wife who,
An
despite
ardent
her
practitioner of
discomfort,
free love,
was trying to
Brian had a
support her
separate
husband's
sexual relationship
unconventional
with both Michael
lifestyle.
and Vivian
However,
Ostito.
a few people
Outside of the
mentioned
throuple
that
involving
Vivian
Isaac
had
Arevin
recently
and
become
Melissa
more
Moonbeam
withdrawn
Brown.
and
Despite
appeared
his sexual
increasingly
attraction to
troubled.
both Michael and
As the
Vivian,
investigation
Brian was
into
unaware
Vivian
of the tension
Ostito's
brewing
possible
between them.
involvement
Brian
in the
was
murders
brought in for
progressed,
questioning by detectives
more
Mullen and
complexities
Ramirez.
emerged.
When he arrived at the station,
Her
he
intense
appeared
feelings
calm
of jealousy
and
and
cooperative.
betrayal
The detectives
seemed
asked
to
Brian
offer a
about his
possible
relationships
motive,
with Michael and Vivian.
but the
He
detectives knew
explained
they
that he
needed
enjoyed the
solid
sexual
evidence to
attention and
confirm her
affection from
guilt.
both,
As
but
the
had no
detectives dug
knowledge of
deeper
any
into
serious
Vivian's
issues in
life
their
and
marriage.
relationships,
Brian was
the
shocked
case
to hear
against her
about the
began to
murders
build,
and
but they
expressed
weren't
his
ready to make an
condolences for the
arrest just
victims.
yet.
The
The
detectives then asked
investigation then
Brian
turned
about
to a
his
second
whereabouts during the
suspect,
weekend of the
Brian
murders.
Foster.
Brian stated that he had
At
been
40
working
years
at the
old,
gym and
Brian
visiting
was a
friends in
personal
Florida.
trainer in
He
Asheville,
provided names
well known
and
for his
contact
charm and
information for
impressive
his
physical
alibi.
fitness.
The detectives
Brian
verified
had a
Brian's
magnetic
alibi,
personality
finding
that
that he had
drew
been
in many
seen at a gym in
clients, both
Tampa
men
and
and
with
women.
friends during the
A
time of the
strong
murders.
believer in free
The
love,
investigation
he
into Brian
maintained separate
Foster's
sexual
possible involvement in
relationships
the murders
with both
revealed
Michael
no
and
immediate
Vivian
evidence
Ostito,
linking him
in
to the
addition
crime.
to the
His alibi
throuple he
was
had
solid,
with Isaac
and there were
Irvin
no
and
signs of
Melissa
violent
Moonbeam
tendencies.
Brown.
However, the
Despite his
detectives were not ready
relationships
to
with
rule
both
him out
Michael and
completely.
Vivian,
They
Brian
continued
was
to
unaware
monitor
of
his
the growing
activities
tension
and
between them.
communications,
He was
hoping
brought
to
in for
uncover any
questioning
new
by detectives
information.
Mullen
As
and
the
Ramirez.
investigation progressed,
When he
Brian's
arrived at
name
the
remained on the
station,
list of
he seemed
suspects,
calm and
but
willing to
without concrete
cooperate.
evidence. The
The
detectives turned their
detectives
focus
questioned
to other
Brian
potential
about his
leads.
relationships
Brian's
with Michael
charm
and Vivian.
and cooperative
He
nature made
admitted
it
to
difficult
enjoying
to
the
determine
attention
if
and
he was
affection
hiding
from
something
both,
or
but
truly
claimed he
innocent.
wasn't aware of
The
any
third
major
suspect the
problems
police
in their marriage.
investigated was Luann Harris,
Brian was visibly
29.
shocked when he
Luann was
heard
a
about
yoga
the
instructor
murders
and
and
spiritual
offered his
teacher known for
condolences
her
for the
serene
victims.
and calming
The
presence.
detectives then
She lived
asked
in Asheville
Brian
and was
about
good
his
friends with both
whereabouts
Vivian
during the
Ostito
weekend
and
of the
Melissa
murders.
Moonbeam Brown.
Brian said he'd
Luann
been
had been
working at the
introduced to the
gym
throuple
and
as a
visiting
potential
friends
fourth
in
partner,
Florida.
but her
He
involvement
gave the
was more
detectives
emotional than
names and
physical.
contact
Detectives
details
Mullen
to
and
support
Ramirez
his
brought
alibi.
Luann in for
The
questioning. She
detectives
appeared
confirmed
calm but
Brian's
worried.
alibi,
The detectives asked
discovering
her about
he
her
had been at a
feelings about
gym
the
in
throuple.
Tampa and
Luann
with
admitted
friends
she was
during
close
the
to
time of the
Vivian and
murders.
found it hard
The
to see her friend
investigation revealed
unhappy in her
no
marriage.
immediate
She
evidence
denied
connecting him
having
to the
any
crime.
role in the
His
murders
alibi
or in the
checked out,
throuple.
and there
She
were no
explained to them she was
indications of
not
violent
interested in
behavior on
sex,
his part.
and that, although she
Despite
had the
clearing
body of
him
an
of
adult
direct
woman,
involvement
her
for the
true
time
soul
being,
was that
the
of a
detectives
19th
weren't ready
century
to
Swiss
dismiss
child
Brian as
named
a
Berthold.
suspect.
The
They continued
detectives
to
then
monitor
questioned
his
Luann about
activities
her
and
whereabouts
communications,
during the weekend
hoping
of the
to
murders.
find new
Luann
information.
said she had been teaching a
As the
seminar on
investigation
true
moved
souls
forward,
in nearby
Brian's
Black
name
Mountain.
stayed on
She
the
provided
list
a
of potential
schedule of the
suspects,
retreat and names
but
of
without
participants
solid
who could
evidence,
confirm
the
her alibi.
detectives shifted
She
their
even told
focus
the
to other
detectives the
leads.
identities of their true
Brian's
souls.
charm and
Detective
cooperative
Mullen was that of
demeanor
a Chinese
made it hard
girl
to
named
tell
Lu
if he
Mei,
was
and
hiding
Detective
something or
Ramirez
truly
had the soul
innocent.
of an
The
ancient
third
Indian guru
suspect
named
the police
Pandichi.
looked into
The
was
detectives checked her
Luann
alibi
Harris,
and found that
29.
Luann had been seen at the
A
retreat
yoga
for most of the
instructor and
weekend.
spiritual
Despite
teacher,
her alibi,
Luann was
the
known for her
detectives
peaceful
continued
and
to probe
calming
Luann's
presence.
possible involvement. They
Luann lived
searched
in
her home and
Asheville
yoga
and was
studio,
close friends with
looking for
both
any clues.
Vivian
They found
Ostito
several
and
books on
Melissa
spirituality
Moonbeam
and
Brown.
healing, but nothing
She
that
had been
directly connected
introduced
her
to
to
the
the crime.
throuple as a
They also
potential
checked her
fourth
phone
partner,
records and
but
emails,
her role
hoping
was
to
more
find any
emotional than
communication
physical.
that might hint at her involvement.
Detectives Detectives Luann
Luann's
and
calm
Ramirez
and
brought
cooperative
Luann
demeanor
in for
during the
questioning.
interrogation
Luann
matched her
appeared
usual
calm,
personality.
though clearly
However,
worried.
the
When the
detectives remained
detectives
skeptical.
asked her about
They
her
knew that
thoughts
people
on
could
the
hide their
throuple,
true
she
intentions
admitted
well.
she was
The
close to
police interviewed
Vivian
Luann's
and
yoga
found it
students and
difficult to
colleagues.
watch her friend
Most
struggle in her
described her as
marriage.
peaceful and
Luann
dedicated to her
denied
practice.
any
No
involvement in
one
the
reported
murders
seeing
or in
any
the
signs
throuple.
of violent
She
behavior
told the
or
detectives
unusual
that she
actions.
wasn't interested
Despite
in
this,
sex
the
and
detectives
explained
continued
that,
to monitor
despite
Luann,
having the body
aware
of
that
an adult
jealousy could
woman,
be a
her
powerful
true
motive.
soul was that
The
of a
investigation
19th
into
century
Luann
Swiss
Harris
child
revealed
named
no immediate
Bertold.
evidence
The
linking her to
detectives
the
then
murders.
asked her about her
Her alibi was
whereabouts during the
strong,
weekend
and
of
her
the
background
murders.
showed no
Luann
history
said
of
she had been
violence.
teaching a
Nevertheless,
seminar on
the
true
detectives kept
souls
her
in
under
nearby
surveillance,
Black Mountain
hoping
that
to uncover
weekend.
any
She
new
provided a
information that
detailed
might come to
schedule
light.
of the retreat
After
and
weeks of
gave the
intense
detectives the
investigation,
names of
the police
participants
finally
who could
identified
confirm
the
her
murderer.
alibi.
On the
In
morning of
addition,
April 10,
she even shared with
2012,
them the
a breakthrough
identities of
came
the
when forensic
participants' true
analysis confirmed that
souls.
the katana found at
Detective
the crime
Mullen's
scene
true
matched the
soul,
one in
according
Vivian
to
Ostito's
Luann,
collection.
was that of a
Detectives
Chinese
Mullen
girl
and
named
Ramirez
Lu
pieced
Mei,
together
while
evidence from
Detective
phone records,
Ramirez's was an
emails, and
ancient
interviews,
Indian
leading them
guru
to conclude
named
that Vivian was the
Panditiji.
killer. Vivian, an
The
art teacher,
detectives
had a
verified her
vibrant and
alibi
charismatic
and
personality
confirmed that
that hid her
Luann
deep
had been
insecurities.
present at the
She felt
retreat for most
neglected
of
and
the
betrayed
weekend.
by her husband
Despite
Michael's
this,
growing
they
sexual
continued to
attachment to
investigate
Isaac
her
and
possible
Melissa.
connection
The
to the
throuple
murders.
arrangement,
The
which she
detectives
initially
searched
accepted only
Luann's
to make
home
Michael
and
happy,
yoga studio
became
for any
unbearable as she
clues.
watched him
While they
drift
found
further
several
away.
books on
Vivian's
spirituality and
jealousy and
healing,
resentment
there was
reached a
nothing that
breaking
directly
point,
linked her to the
driving her to
crime.
commit the brutal
They also
murders.
reviewed her
On the
phone
night of the
records
crime,
and emails,
Vivian
hoping
used her
to
knowledge
uncover
of
any
Japanese swords
communication
to
that might
carry out the
suggest her
killings.
involvement.
Late at night, she
Luann's
waited until
calm and
Michael,
cooperative
Isaac,
behavior
and
during
Melissa
the
were asleep at the
interrogation
day's
was
end before
consistent
entering
with
the
her
room with the
usual
katana.
demeanor.
In a fit
Still,
of blind
the
rage,
detectives
she
remained
attacked them,
skeptical.
ensuring
They
their faces
understood
were
that some people were
unrecognizable and
skilled at
severing their
concealing their
limbs.
true
She
intentions.
stuffed the limbs
The
into the
police
toilet,
spoke with
adding
Luann's
to the
yoga
gruesomeness
students
of
and
the scene.
colleagues.
The morning of
Most
Vivian's
described
arrest
her
was
as
overcast,
peaceful and deeply
reflecting the
committed
somber
to her
mood.
practice.
The police arrived
None
at
of
her
them
home
reported
at 8
any
a.m.,
signs of
armed with a
violent
warrant.
behavior or
Vivian was
unusual
taken by
actions.
surprise, her calm facade
Despite
quickly
the lack
crumbling
of
into
evidence,
shock and
the
disbelief.
detectives kept
She was
monitoring
handcuffed
Luann,
and led to the
knowing
police
that
car,
jealousy
her
could be a
neighbors watching
strong
in stunned
motive.
silence.
The
As the
investigation
police
into her
car drove
revealed
away,
no direct
Vivian's
connection to
emotions
the
ranged
murders.
from shock
Her
to a haunting
alibi was
realization
solid,
of what she
and
had
her
done.
background
The
showed
once
no
vibrant art
history of
teacher was
violent
now at the
behavior.
center of a horrifying
Despite
crime.
the lack
The
of
news of
direct
her
evidence,
arrest spread
the
quickly through
detectives kept
Asheville,
Luann under
leaving the community
surveillance,
reeling.
hoping
Brian
something
Foster
new would
and Lewin
surface.
Harris, once
After
suspects
weeks of
themselves,
intense
were equally
investigation,
shocked by
they
the
finally
revelation.
made a
They had
breakthrough.
suspected
On
Vivian's
the morning
jealousy,
of April
but
10,
never imagined it would lead to
2012,
such violence.
forensic analysis
Both faced their
confirmed
own
that the katana
emotional
found at the
turmoil,
crime scene
dealing with the
was a
guilt of
match
not
to one
foreseeing the
in
tragic
Vivian
outcome.
Ostito's
As
collection.
Vivian Ostito faced the
Detectives
legal
Mullen and Ramirez
consequences of her
carefully
actions,
examined
the
phone
community
records,
of Asheville tried to
emails,
heal
and
from the
witness
trauma.
statements,
The police had
ultimately
unraveled a
piecing together
complicated web of
evidence that
relationships,
pointed to
jealousy,
Vivian as
and
the
betrayal
killer.
to bring justice to the
Vivian,
victims.
an
The
art
trial
teacher
of
with a
Vivian
vibrant
Ostito
and
began on
charismatic
October 12,
personality, had long
2012,
hidden
in
her
Asheville's
deep
Buncombe County
insecurities.
Courthouse.
She felt
The courtroom was
increasingly
packed with
neglected
media,
and betrayed
including
by her
reporters from
husband
the Asheville
Michael's
Citizen
growing
Times and
sexual
local TV
attachment to
stations.
Isaac
The
and
community
Melissa.
followed the
The
trial
morning of
closely,
Vivian's arrest
eager
was
for justice
overcast,
to be served.
matching the
The
grim mood
prosecution
that
was
hung
led
in
by
the air.
District Attorney
The
Ray
police
Ray
arrived at her
Reynolds,
home at
a
8
seasoned lawyer
a.m.,
known for his
armed with
firm
a
stance
warrant.
on violent crimes.
Vivian was caught
Reynolds,
off guard,
75,
her composed
was
demeanor
confident and
quickly
assertive,
devolving into shock
presenting a
and
compelling
disbelief
case against
as she
Vivian.
realized
He
what was
detailed how her
happening.
jealousy
She was
and resentment
handcuffed
had
and
driven her
escorted to
to
the
commit
police
the
car,
brutal murders.
her neighbors looking
Reynolds
on in
showed the jury
stunned
the forensic
silence.
evidence
As
linking
the car
katana to
drove
Vivian
away,
and highlighted her motive rooted in
Vivian's
emotional turmoil.
emotions
Vivian's defense attorney,
shifted
Rachel
from
McAllister, was
disbelief
38 and known for her empathetic
to
approach
a
to cases.
chilling awareness of the
McAllister argued that
gravity of her
Vivian's
actions.
actions were a result of temporary insanity brought on by the
once
extreme stress and
vibrant
emotional
art
pain from the
teacher
throuple arrangement.
who
She
had
painted a
seemed so
picture of a woman
full of
pushed to
life
her limits
was
by a
now at the
complicated
heart of
and
a gruesome
unorthodox
crime.
relationship dynamic.
The
McAllister called
news of
several
Vivian's
witnesses who
arrest spread
testified about
quickly
Vivian's
through
previously
Asheville,
stable and kind
leaving the
nature,
community
trying
in
to evoke
shock.
sympathy from the jury.
Brian
Throughout the
Foster
trial, the emotional reactions
and
of the
Laura
victims'
Flora
families were
Nashville,
palpable. Michael Ostito's family sat
leaving
in the
the
courtroom,
community in
their
shock.
faces a mix of sorrow and anger.
Brian's
Melissa and
brother
Moonbeam
and
Brown's
Luann
spiritual
Harris,
community members,
both
known as the Sunshine
former
Family,
suspects,
attended
were
daily,
equally,
holding ritual scarring sessions outside the
spread
courthouse.
a
After 3 weeks of
humanity.
testimony
While
and
they had
evidence,
suspected
the jury
Vivian's
reached a
jealousy,
verdict. On
they
October
could never have
22,
imagined it would
2012,
escalate to such
Vivian
violent
Ostito
extremes.
was found guilty of
Both
3 counts
Brian
of
and
first-degree
Luann
murder.
wrestled with
The
their own
courtroom was
emotional
silent as the
turmoil,
verdict was
burdened burdened by the guilt
with the
of not
victims'
foreseeing
families
the
showing a
tragic
mix of
outcome.
relief and grief.
As Vivian
The judge
Astito
sentenced
faced the
Vivian to
legal
3
consequences of
consecutive
her
life terms in
actions,
prison.
the Asheville
Vivian
community
remained
began the
expressionless as
long
the sentence
process
was
of
handed
healing
down.
from the
Her
trauma.
once vibrant
The
personality,
police had
now a
unraveled
shadow
a
of its former
complex
self.
web of
The
relationships,
sentencing brought a sense of
jealousy,
closure
and
to the
betrayal.
victims' families, though the
ultimately
pain of their
bringing
loss
justice
remained.
to the victims.
Michael's family
The
felt
trial
justice
of
had been
Vivian
served, but they
Ostito began on
continued to
October
mourn his
12,
untimely death.
2012, at
Melissa's
the
spiritual
Buncombe County
community and
Courthouse
Isaac's
in
relatives
Asheville.
hoped the
The
verdict would bring
courtroom
some
was filled
peace,
with media,
though they knew the healing
including
process
reporters
would
from
be
the
long.
Asheville Citizen
Following Vivian
Times and
Ostito's
local
trial and
TV
sentencing,
stations.
life
The
began to
community
slowly
watched
return to
closely,
normal for those
eager to
involved in
see
the case.
justice served
For the victims'
and to
families,
finally
the pain of their
understand the
loss
full
lingered,
extent of the
but the
tragic
closure
events.
provided by the
The
verdict brought a
prosecution
sense
was
of
led by
peace.
District
The
Attorney Ray
detectives received
Reynolds, a
commendations for their
seasoned lawyer with
dedication
a
and
reputation for his
professionalism in
tough
solving the
stance on
case.
violent
They
crimes.
continued to
At
work on other
75,
investigations,
Reynolds was
though the
confident
memory
and
of the
assertive
gruesome
as he
murders stayed with
presented
them.
a compelling
The Asheville
case
Police
against
Department
Vivian.
implemented
He
new protocols
meticulously
for handling
outlined
similar
how her
cases,
jealousy and
ensuring a
growing
more
resentment
coordinated
had
and
pushed her to
efficient
commit
response
the
in the
brutal
future.
murders,
For Brian
painting
Foster
a clear
and Lewin
picture
Harris,
of the motive
life
behind
took
the crime.
unexpected turns after
Reynolds
the trial.
presented forensic
Brian,
evidence
still reeling from the
linking the
shock of
katana
Vivian's
to
betrayal,
Vivian,
decided
emphasizing
to leave
her
Asheville
motive,
and start
driven
afresh
by
in Tampa,
emotional
Florida.
turmoil
He
and
found
jealousy.
solace in his work as
In
a personal
response,
trainer,
Vivian's
channeling his
defense
energy
attorney,
into helping others achieve
38-year-old
their
Rachel
fitness goals.
McAllister,
Luann,
known for
on the
her
other hand,
empathetic
chose to
approach,
deepen her
argued
spiritual
that
practice,
Vivian's
finding
actions
comfort in
were the
yoga
result
and
of
meditation.
temporary insanity.
She opened her own studio in
McAllister
downtown Asheville,
claimed that the
offering
extreme
classes that
stress
focused on
and
healing
emotional
and inner
pain
peace.
from the
As
throuple
the years
arrangement
passed,
had
the
pushed
memory of the
Vivian
triple
to the
homicide
breaking
faded
point,
from the public
clouding her
consciousness,
judgment
replaced by
in that
new events
fateful
and
moment.
headlines. Asheville
McAllister
continued to
painted a
thrive
picture
as a
of a
vibrant
woman
and
pushed
eclectic
to her
community,
breaking point
known
by
for
a
its art galleries,
complicated and
craft
unorthodox
breweries, and
relationship.
scenic mountain views.
She
But
called
for those
several
who had been
witnesses
directly
who
impacted by
spoke
the
of
tragedy,
Vivian's
the scars
previously
remained,
stable
a
and
reminder
kind
of the
nature,
fragility of life
attempting
and the
to evoke
importance of
sympathy from the
cherishing
jury.
every moment.
Throughout the trial, the emotional reactions of the victims' families were unmistakable, with their grief and anger weighing heavily in the courtroom. Michael Ostito's family sat in the courtroom, their faces a mix of sorrow and anger, struggling to reconcile their grief with the brutal reality of what had happened. Melissa and Moonbeam Brown's spiritual community, the Sunshine Family, attended the trial daily, holding ritual scarifying sessions outside the courthouse as a form of protest and remembrance. After 3 weeks of testimony and evidence, the jury finally reached a verdict. On October 22, 2012, Vivian Ostito was found guilty of 3 counts of first-degree murder. The courtroom fell into a heavy silence as the verdict was read, with the victims' families displaying a complex mix of relief and lingering grief. The judge sentenced Vivian to 3 consecutive life terms in prison, ensuring she would never be released. Vivian remained expressionless as the sentence was handed down, her once vibrant personality now a mere shadow of its former self. While the sentencing brought a sense of closure to the victims' families, the pain of their loss lingered. Michael's family felt that justice had been served, but the wound of his untimely death remained, leaving them to grieve the man they had lost. Melissa's spiritual community and Isaac's relatives hoped the verdict would offer some sense of peace, though they understood that healing would be a long and difficult journey. After Vivian Ostito's trial and sentencing, life gradually began to return to normal for those involved in the case. For the victims' families, the pain of their loss continued, but the closure provided by the verdict brought a measure of peace, allowing them to begin moving forward, however slowly.